Welcome to my cooking show. Today, we're making cinnamon rolls. Starting with 3/4 of a cup of warm milk, preferably 2% milk, at around 110 degrees Celsius, followed by sprinkling 2 1/4 of a teaspoon of quick rise yeast so that it starts to activate. Next, we have a 1/4 cup of granulated sugar. This helps feed the yeast. 1/4 cups of melted butter, and 1 whole egg plus 1 yolk at room temperature. You're going to mix this in a bowl with an electric mixer until well mixed. Following this, we're going to add 3 cups of bread flour and 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. We will then mix this with a wooden spoon until a dough just begins to form. Once you're done with the spoon, it's time to upgrade to the dough hooks and mix the dough until it forms a sticky ball. Not too sticky though. If the dough is really sticking to the bottom of the bowl, try adding 2 more tablespoons of flour and mixing that in. Now, I like to finish the dough off by hand so I can feel the dough and really get it to my preferred texture. I encourage you to do the same. Once you're satisfied with your dough, you'll place it in a well-oiled bowl, covering it with plastic wrap and a hot towel, and letting the dough rise for about an hour and a half. It should double in size and look something like this. Once this is done, you will transfer the dough ball to a well-floured surface. Work the dough a little bit to get it nice and round. A couple of smacks, and now we're ready to roll it out. We're aiming to roll it out into a 14 by 9 inch rectangle and about 1/4 inch in thickness. You can experiment here. The thinner your dough, the more swirls you get, but I find this to be a sweet spot for my preference. Now once you're done rolling, spread 1/4 of a cup of softened butter on your sheet of dough, leaving about a 1/4 inch margin untouched on the top side for sealing. Now we have to whip together the filling. Simply mix 2/3 of a cup of dark brown sugar with 1 3/4 of a tablespoon of ground cinnamon. Once this is done, sprinkle it over the buttered portion of the dough. Bonus points for rubbing it in with your hands to ensure it's well incorporated. Now for my favorite step. We will tightly roll the dough up from the 9-inch side. Take extra care to make sure there are no air pockets in your roll, and make sure to seal it once you get to that 1/4 inch margin from earlier. I also like to stretch the dough out a bit here, as the middle tends to be a little bit thicker. Finally, it's time to cut the roll, but it's smart to score it first so you can plan out where your cuts are going to be. You want about 1-inch sections. Also make sure you're using a very sharp serrated knife and focus on a sawing motion and less pressing down so that you don't pinch the dough. Let's take a look at this cross section. Even out of focus, I can tell it's going to be a good one. Make sure you're placing them in a greased pan. Bonus points if you're using a parchment paper. All done. Let's add the plastic wrap and warm towel, and let's let these puppies proof for about 30 minutes. Now, they're ready for the oven, that you definitely remember to preheat at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. They'll spend about 20 to 25 minutes in there until they're golden brown. Here they are. So fluffy. Thanks to the bread flour, because it has a higher protein content than typical all-purpose flour, this creates way more gluten, which gives us this fluffy, chewy texture we know and love. While these guys begin to cool down, it's time to whip our cream cheese icing together, starting with 4 ounces of cream cheese, 3 tablespoons of softened butter, and 3/4 of a cup of confectioner's sugar passed through a sieve. Don't forget to add 3/4 of a teaspoon of vanilla extract for a little bit extra flavor. Now you're going to mix all of this up in an electric mixer until well combined into a delicious icing. Now, while the rolls are still warm, layer that cream cheese icing over top so that it melts into the roll and gets in all the nooks and crannies. You know what I'm talking about. Alright. I'm gonna have to try one of these. Just look at the way it stretches from the rest of them. I can tell these are going to be fluffy. Now that was a bite straight from heaven. Look at that. Whoop, lost a little piece there. I'm definitely not going to waste that. Well, thanks for watching, guys. This was wonderful. Alright, I'm out of here. Oh, thanks for watching.